All right, everybody. For those of you who don't know, my name is Michael Forrest, and welcome to It's Quest Time. Now, before we get going, I'm going to ask you guys if you cannot send me any text messages while I'm up here, because, listen, you can be moving around doing the whole hosting thing, right? And all of a sudden you get hit with this big wall of text, and it's a lot like, well, it's not like hitting a wall, actually, and it can really throw you off. So if you have any comments like that, please hold that until the end of the event. And, excuse me, one second. Sorry about that. Yeah, but if you can please hold that off till the end of the event, I'd appreciate that. And really, if you want to get a hold of us, the best way to do that is to join our Discord. It's the best way to reach us. Also, if I can ask you guys to not step on a stage area here, because this way nobody blocks this big display behind me or gets eaten by my co-host Sharky here. And yeah, so that would be great. That would be a big help. Also, let's see here. Yeah, also, if you may notice that in your lower left there, that menu wheel, at the very top of that is a microphone icon. And when that microphone icon is clear, well, that means we can hear you and everything that's happening in your environment, right? And I do mean everything. So we've gone ahead and we've turned that to red, which has made it muted. And that means we won't be able to hear you if somebody comes in your space and says, hey, are you still on that thing? Well, we're not going to hear that, right? Likewise, if maybe you have a barking dog in the background. Ooh, hang on a second, guys. Oh, all right. Sorry, I'm having a thing today. But yeah, we're going to have, if you have a barking dog in the background, we're not going to hear any of that. So we've gone ahead and done that. But just because you're muted doesn't mean you can't express yourself. You're going to notice you have that pink smiley face in there too. And when you click on that, your emoji panel opens up in front of you, and it gives you a wide variety of options with which to express yourself, right? So for example, if I say something really deep and powerful and meaningful, you feel it building up inside you, you can just let it out and let it flow just like that. Maybe I've got, some backup dancers backstage and they come out and they, jump into the Shark Tank over here, and you're all very impressed. Well, you can throw up the applause that I live for. I can take a moment to drink it all in just like that because it feels good. All right, now if I ask you guys a yes or no question, you can say yes by smiling like this, or you can say no by frowning like that. Maybe I do something funny, right? And you guys want to laugh, you can do this silly face emoji here to show me that. And then there's this thing. This is by far the most distracting of all the emojis. It is, right? And we're going to use this as kind of a signal. So let's say that I'm moving my hands around and it looks like I'm talking to you, don't hear me, right? Well, that's a good time to use that. Or my voice goes real choppy, that can happen sometimes. You want to do that then. Now, if I see one hand go up like that, I'm probably going to keep on going. But if I see a bunch of them going up at one time, I know there's something I need to address immediately. So we'll take care of that way. You can press X to close this panel in the center there. But it's a good idea to leave it open during events like this because, one, it gives me some feedback. It lets me know how I'm doing. But more importantly, it lets the people around you know what you're experiencing, right? So the person next to you starts going like this. Well, they found something funny, right? And you may not agree. You might be like, well, that's not funny at all. I'm going to go stand over here. And you can totally do that because, this is VR. Except for right here because we agreed you guys wouldn't come up on the stage area, right? That's part of our pact. That's part of our bond, right? Okay, cool. Now, let's get going here. Now, Quest Time is an event for Oculus Quest users, but all are welcome. And you can maybe pick up some tips and useful information that your fellow Quest users may find useful because there's new Quest users arriving in Altspace each and every day, and the numbers keep on growing, and soon they'll take over the campfire by force if necessary. All right, now how many of you? Let me get an idea of how to set out here. How many of you, either by a show of hands, going up like this because you can, or some emojis, show hearts, whatever? How many are on a Quest right now? Let me see it. Show some hearts or hands up like that if you're on a Quest. All right, so I'm seeing some Quest users. All right, cool, good. How many of you are new to the Quest? Any new Quest users? Okay, good. How many of you are new to Altspace? Any new Altspace users today? Okay, oh, good. Well, welcome to Altspace. I think you're going to enjoy it. How many of you are on a Quest 2 right now? Like you got it early. Anybody on a Quest 2 at the moment? No, how many are excited about the Quest 2? Anybody looking forward to that? I know I am. I can't wait for this thing. I'm really psyched to try this thing. I hear the graphics are way better. And we're going to be adapting our content as we, more comes in and we're learning more about it. We're going to be adapting it so that we have two versions of the event if necessary, or we can all, as Quest users, Quest 1 and Quest 2 meet here. So we're going to be adjusting as we go. All right, but that gives me some idea how to set out. Thanks for that. Now, when I was waiting for my Quest to arrive, I'd been on Altspace for a long time on Oculus Go. And as you may know, the Oculus Go has one controller, right? So, and all anybody saw me doing was going like this, because I grew up in Brooklyn, so Brooklyn, New York, so I talk with my hands an awful lot, right? And I couldn't wait for this thing to arrive, right? So, because I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to use both hands, so I couldn't wait to get this controller, right? But when it finally did come, I took a look at that controller and I realized, that's a lot of buttons. That's a lot to take in if you're a new user, right? So what I like to do is I like to go over these controls and listen. I know you're already familiar with some of this. You wouldn't be here today. All right. You did the tour, you danced with the robot, you played with the blimp, all that stuff, right? And you know that the left thumbstick's going to move you around like this. The right thumbstick's going to turn you into circles. And when you combine them, you get these big, elaborate circles that make my presentations so much more dramatic. Can everybody do that for me? Go into these big circles for me. Let me see that. Anybody got that? Let's see. All right. Because when I look out when you guys are doing that, it looks like you guys are ballroom dancing. All right, that's kind of fancy. You're looking good. All right, so I always say I wish you guys could see what this looks like, and now you can. If you look up in the air, you've got Raven Eye floating up there. That's our YouTube camera. We usually put these up a few weeks after we have them. And so if you want to feel VR famous, you just stand on this rug area so that you're seen and wave on out to YouTube and be like, "Hey, YouTube, how's it going?" We got a lot of people, and we got Handshot First. We got Putlog. We got Kate H. We got I can't even say that. Siangi? I hope I'm saying that wrong. I'm not good at pronouncing the names. So we also have Sue, and we also have Shell. How's it going? All right, so let's see. Let's get into it now. Now, there's some items on here, though, it is useful to be aware of. So like I said, I like to go over this stuff, and we try to do it in a fun way. So if you're already familiar with this stuff, you won't be too bored because we do some movement stuff that is a good time. But the first thing we're going to take a look at is your grip button. That's on your right and left controller, right on the side there. Usually grab it with your third finger there. And you're going to use this to interact with your environment. That's how I'm grabbing this laser pointer here. And that's how, you would grab those fireworks. And if you're a world builder, that's what you're going to use to build worlds with your own two hands, right? But when you grab something in the world editor, when you're building worlds, please keep in mind that it's going to change the behavior of your right thumbstick. No longer will it turn you in these circles. What it's going to do is it's going to make the object larger or smaller, or it's going to push the object further away or bring it closer to you. And you can do that with your right thumbstick while gripping the object in the world editor. All right. Also, you're going to use this to grab on basketballs. So if my backup dancers can throw me some of these basketballs here, you can try that. If you haven't tried the grip button, there's a good opportunity to do it. You can just toss those around for a little bit. There you go. And let's see if I can give one to Sharky in there. There we go. Okay, there we go. All right. So here we go. Now, another thing you need to keep in mind of is if you're having like a room scale experience, right? For some reason, every time you walk out past your main menu, that's about the time somebody in Altspace says to you, "Open your main menu." Oh, there we go. I don't know where that came from. Okay, wow, okay. But when that comes from there, they'll ask you to open the main menu, and you'll be like, "Where is this thing?" And you look around for it. You're like, "Oh, it's not there. Oh, it's not there." And it's usually behind you, right? And that can get old real quick. So what you can do is please remember that on an Oculus Quest, your main menu is in your hands at all times. On your left controller, down toward the bottom, you're going to have this flat button right here. It looks all innocent, right? But it's powerful because it's actually your main menu button, right? And then you can open it anytime just by doing that. So if, for example, what I like to do is I like to flick my hand out when I do it. So my menu's open and I flick my hand out again and my menu's closed. I'll be honest with you, I haven't touched that blue and white triangle in months. You don't have to do that. You can just press down on that button on your left controller and it'll open and close your main menu. So if you lose your menu wheel while you're walking around your space, it's a great way to pick it up again. All right, now let's see. Where did my pointer go? Okay, that's weird. All right, I lost my there it is, right there. It's attached to me. Okay, that's different. All right, cool. Grab that. All right, now another button you need to be concerned about is, and listen, while this is a lot of buttons, some of them do the same thing. All right, like on your right controller, you have this right trigger button here, this select button here, and if you have your left pointer enabled, which you can do through your main menu under settings, you'll have this select button here on your left controller. This all does the same thing, so that's like 3 buttons you don't need to worry about. And what this does, if you hold down your right trigger and move it through the audience, you're going to see everybody's name tag appear in front above their head. All right, and that's a great way to get your hand shot first right there, and you can just move your hand back and forth, and you'll see people's names pop up. All right, so that's a good way to do that. All right, now another thing you'll keep in mind is that on your right controller here, down to up to the top here next to the thumbstick, you have your teleport button, right? And the way to use this, if you line up with me against this wall here, we can try it out. If you press and hold your teleport button down, aim at the floor, you're going to get a teleport circle as target right there. And what you can do is aim across toward that brick wall, and as soon as you let go, right, as soon as you release that button, boom, you get thrown right across the room, just like that. Everybody teleport over to me while there's still time. You can do it. I believe in you. All right, another thing you can do is on your left trigger, your index finger, if you squeeze that, what's going to happen is it's going to cause you to accelerate. All right, so what we can do is we can run around the room here, right here. We can go into a big circle, everybody. If you get dizzy, you probably don't want to do this thing. Maybe we can make a tornado or a hurricane or a whirlpool. All right, keep going. Let's see how we're doing here. Let me check your formation out. Let's see. That's kind of circular. All right, looking good, people. That's awesome. Very organized. I'm liking it. If you're getting dizzy, you probably shouldn't do that. Just saying. All right, let's see. Another thing we need to worry about here is, when I was messing around with this stuff, I went to the Universe, right? And at the Universe, back then it was held in a very large world. And I walked up to the edge of that world at the end. I was exploring it, and I walked too far, and I fell right off the edge of the world. I'm like, oh, no. And I start falling. Now, before I could respawn, I looked over and I saw there was a cliff there. I was able to aim out with my teleporter, right? And as soon as I locked onto it, I let go, and boom, I was thrown to safety before I could respawn. Because it's not like you can get hurt in Altspace. But in that moment, I knew I was finally getting used to the controls. So if you're new to Altspace, don't worry, this stuff will become automatic after a while. Like if I tell everybody, hey, look out that window, I don't think about how I'm pointing, I just do it. It becomes like a reflex after a while, and you don't even think about it. There's going to come a time where, even though you're always going to feel the plastic in your hands of the controllers, there's going to come a time when these actually become your hands, right? And some of these gestures that you'll see us doing, where you're, with the pointing, for example, if you hold down your grip button, you'll notice that your hands go into a point, right? And you can use this in a variety of ways to express yourself. Like, example, you can give me, good Brooklyn hello. Everybody go like that and give me a Brooklyn hello. Let me see. Anybody got that? All right, there we go. Good. Now, what you can do also is you can put them together and kind of make the Altspace logo. Hold it up nice and high. Show me some Altspace pride, people. Let me see it. All right, cool. Oh, nice job. Also, if you spin it around like this, you can make a picture frame like that. That's kind of cool. Maybe you squeeze your index finger, make it like a little shutter action there. How cool would it be to take a screenshot like that? Be like, oh, you're a great audience. There we go. That's nice. Snap, snap. There you go. Another thing you can do is if you hold your grip and your index finger buttons down together, you give me 2 thumbs up. Let me know I'm doing a good job. Like, yeah, that's how you do it. Right? Maybe I'm not. Give me 2 thumbs down like that. Maybe I'm not sure yet. Give me a little bit of both. Lately, people have been coming up the stage and doing this. I have no idea what it means, but it looks cool. They've been doing this too. I don't know what that's about. But, what you can do also is if you touch your thumbs down to the buttons or the thumbstick, you're going to find that your thumbs go down. You can combine this into kind of a cool dance move by alternating them. I'm told, all right, that this isn't as cool as I think it is, but this is how I dance on Altspace. I'll be standing there in the corner. You'll see me doing it. I go like that. And I'm not going to stop doing it like that. There we go. All right, let's see what else we have here. Now, there's another button that you need to be aware of here, and that is, there it is. Is this on the, and don't press this now, because if you disappear, I'm going to feel it, all right? But on your right controller, right down here toward the bottom, you have this flat button here, and it looks all innocent, but it's not. You got to think of this as like an eject button. It's the best way to leave Altspace. So if somebody comes in your space and says, hey, dinner's ready, what do? You go, oh, gotta go, and you hit that flat button on your right controller. And then you'll be presented with a choice to quit or resume. Now, this is great if you press this by accident, like dancing around the Universe, and all of a sudden you hit that flat button by accident, right? Then you just hit resume. You come right back into Altspace. No one will ever know you were gone. This way you won't be offending Eugene. You won't need to destroy you with her awesome admin powers there. But if you press quit, it'll close the app, right? And then you go, take your headset off and all that. But you know what, though? This is also a great button to press when things go wrong. So let's say that if, for example, I turn my head, I'm looking out the window and I turn my head back to look at you guys, and the whole world kind of moves with me. That can make you feel really dizzy when that happens. So having a quick exit is good. You make that a reflex. You just press that flat button, and all of a sudden you press quit, and then you restart the app. And this is going to take care of most of the problems that you're going to have in Altspace. But occasionally something more serious might happen. Like if I look to my left and there's a black void there, right? Or if I look up and down and to the right and I'm surrounded by this black void, and I'm like, oh no, the black void is back. And I see that all my friends are frozen and like, sit there all dramatic, frozen in space like that. I know something's gone horribly wrong. So I go to press that flat button and nothing happens, right? And then I'm going to be like, Michael Forrest, you lied to me. How could you, right? That's not what's going on here. What can happen occasionally is when this is not just going to happen in Altspace, but sometimes your device can like lock up or freeze. When this happens, it pays to know how to restart your headset in a hurry, right? Especially if you're in a rush. The way I used to do it when I first got my Quest is I would take the Quest off to restart it. Now, and if I was playing plugged in at the time and it wasn't in the charge cycle, so the light wouldn't come on, and it takes so long to restart it that I got to think something was wrong with the headset. I think it's a good idea to know how to restart the headset while it's still on your head and to make this a habit, right? So if you need to restart your headset because something's gone wrong, what you do is you take your index finger and you feel on the side of your headset, and you'll feel that raised up power button there, right? And then what you do is you take your index finger on the other side and you squeeze them together. And by squeezing it together, right, this way your headset won't move around too much, right? I find it helps to look down like I'm in a deep concentration pose. And after about 3 seconds, I concentrate so hard my avatar disappears. And I get plunged into the darkness, but I don't let go. After about 10 seconds go by, I start wondering, why did Oculus make it take so long? I don't know. After about 15 seconds, I start thinking about friends I haven't seen in a while. 20 seconds go by, I start thinking about life. I start thinking about the big questions. And then all of a sudden, out of the darkness, the Oculus logo emerges like the bat signal. Right? And then when it starts to pulse, I take my fingers away like that, and the device restarts normally. And this is going to take care of almost all the problems that you could have on the Quest. Now, but occasionally something a lot more serious can happen. Like there was one time I came out of Altspace, and when I came out, there was a message that said Oculus Room is closing or Oculus Home is closing. And there was a blue button that said OK. So I just pressed, it was the only choice. So I just pressed OK. And when I did that, the screen just said loading. All right. And I'm like, okay, this is different. A couple minutes go by. It still says that. I'm like, all right, deep concentration pose. I restart my device and it still says loading when it came back on. So I took my headset off and I went to talk to my good friend Google about it because Google knows like everything. And Google said that a lot of people were having this problem. The best thing I can do is a factory reset. All right. Now it's important to keep in mind that if you ever need to do a factory reset, you're going to lose everything. All right. You're going to lose any pictures that you have on the device. You're going to lose, you're going to have to re-download all of your apps. The good news is you won't have to pay for them again. All right. And this is going to put the headset back the way it was the day you got it. You're going to lose all your preferences too. You may even lose your Beat Saber scores. So this is serious business and only use this in an emergency, but I find it pays to know that it's there. All right, now listen, if you're here today, then you're already familiar with the Guardian system, right? You've done the tour, you dance with the robot, and you're already familiar with how that works. But you may not be familiar with is how to use the Guardian system to your advantage in Altspace. Remember when we were going around in that big circle before? Did anybody get dizzy while we were doing that? And put a hand up if you got dizzy. Anybody get any kind of dizziness when you're in VR? Well, if it should ever happen to you that you do feel dizzy while you're in here, one great way to get used to VR and kind of get your VR legs going is if you take a good look at your hand, even though that's not your real hand, it'll give you a focal point. And if you focus on that hand, right, as soon as the dizziness starts to pass, slowly take away that hand and take in the world around you. That can really help with it. But you can also use your Guardian system for this purpose too. I like to tell people when they mess around with their Guardian system, please remember to be very careful when you're moving around inside your space. Like, it's a good idea to always lead with your hands, especially if you're new to VR, right? Because a lot of times in Altspace, you'll see somebody walking along and they're having a good day, right? And all of a sudden, bam, they hit a real world wall. And let me tell you, those real world walls are a menace to VR. They need to be stopped, right? So what you can do is just lead with your hands, right? And remember, like, let's say I go up to my real world wall right now with my hands out. And as soon as I get close to the edge, that grid appears, right? But while I'm holding the grid with my hands, I can still see the grid, but I can still touch my thumbsticks in Altspace, right? On my controllers, which means I can move my avatar around in VR while my real world self stands still against that wall, right? And what I can do is I can line it up against this display here and kind of create what I call a reality anchor. And as I back up to take it in, I'm going to feel more attached to the real world. And then all of a sudden, oh no, I've fallen off the stage and I'm in the audience. If you guys can come over here and just mess with me, stick your hands in my face, try to make me as dizzy as you can. And I'm going to look at that display and see if I get messed up at all. All right, well, see, I'm not losing my words here at all. I'm not losing my place. And if you guys could be really nice today, you guys aren't even really trying. Come on, guys, you could do better than this. Make me dizzy. Come on, mess me up. This is nothing. As long as I can still see that display, you got nothing on me here. Wow, this is really... Guys, I got to say, I've never been more disappointed in an audience than I am right now. My goodness. Okay. Well, you can also use the edge of the stage here to line it up with a real-world table or real-world desk or something about that height, right? That'll also help with that. And that's a real great way to make you feel connected to real world if you experience dizziness or anything like that. Now, listen, you can also transition from a room scale experience to a stationary experience effortlessly in Altspace. So let's say I'm up here and you're like, you know what, guys? I've done over 400 events in Altspace and I'm tired and I want to sit down. I'm getting tired of this, right? So I look, what I can do is I just go up to the edge of my play space, right? And stick my hands out there and make sure I got enough room for my head to pass through. And as soon as I stick my head through, the pass-through camera goes off and I see the real world. Now, under those experimental features, you have that double tap thing where you can go tap, tap, and you see the real world, right? I see I got my coffee cup right there. Take a sip of that, throw it down because, well, that's just a mess. I'm going to stop doing that. And then I see I got my chair over there. What I can do is I can walk on over to my chair, right? And as soon as I sit in it, right, I'll have a blue button on my screen that asks if I want to switch to a stationary experience. Now, I press that blue button, and the next thing you know, the grid comes up. I find not only am I still in VR, but I'm still in Altspace. I never actually left. Right. The only difference is my avatar is going to be down this low. Right. And if you press down on your left controller like it's a button, because it is, my avatar will pop back up and then it'll adjust my height. The important thing to remember when doing that is if you look down when you do it, it's going to lift your avatar up slightly. So you got to look straight ahead because this movement is attached to your head. And then if you had feet, they would be on the ground. All right. Now, this works in the other direction, too. There was one time that I was moderating an event and I felt like, getting up and walking around. It was a big deal for me, so I did it. I got up and I just thought I was going to step into my Guardian, but sometimes the Quest can lose your Guardian due to changing light levels, or for one reason or another, your device can't resolve where it is quick enough. So it asks you to draw, a new boundary out, which should be simple, right? But when you're moderating an event and there's 2 minutes left, it's a very big deal. So what I did was I started painting out my boundary, right? And I was like, wow, is my play space so big? And of all the days that I had to moderate for an admin, why did it have to be today? So, as soon as I close that loop, the grid system comes up out of the ground like that, right? And I find not only am I still in VR, but I'm still in Altspace. I never left. This is going to give you the freedom to move back and forth between a stationary or standing experience and allow you to be comfortable, as you like. So that's a cool thing that you actually don't have to leave Altspace to, adjust your comfort level there. Now, there's another cool thing, and this isn't useful. This is just cool. If you go up to the edge of your Guardian system and make sure you have enough room for your head to pass through, you stick your hands out there and you're like, okay, that's enough room there. And then if you stick your head through, that pass-through camera goes off, right? But if you do this super slow, you're going to be able to see both realities at the same time. Right. So that's going to enable you to, like, if you go really slow, you're going to be able to see all space avatars in your home environment and really give you an idea of the scale of an avatar. Like, for example, an Altspace avatar is about 6 feet tall, and they're a lot wider than you would think. All right. And you really, this won't be driven home to you until you actually see them in your home environment or your office or wherever it is you VR from. All right. So that's worth trying out just because it's kind of neat, but it is not really useful. It's just cool. All right. Now, the great thing about the Quest is it just works. All right. Now, it doesn't mean it can't work better. There's a lot of accessories that can really improve the experience. Like those earbuds that hang down from the sides, they're kind of like VR earrings, right? I don't know what I look like when I'm in here, but I like to think when I got these hanging off, it makes me look fancy, right? So the first time I tried these, I wore them to the campfire and see how the sound was. And guys know that there's a breeze in the campfire. I was in Altspace for like a year and a half. Nobody told me that. I went over to that fence area and I heard the water rushing by, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, I never heard that before, right? So it turns out there's a lot of ambient sounds in Altspace that can make the experience more rich and more immersive. And wearing earbuds or something like that can really add to the experience. Now, also, listen, I hear very often that people think the Quest is uncomfortable. And when I first got mine, I thought so too, because I got a store on my forehead the first time I got it. And this is because Oculus doesn't do a really good job of advertising the fact that there's a breaking in period for your device. And the problem with that is a lot of people, when they get it, they'll think, oh, I'm not going to stand for this. I'm going to modify it. I'm going to get like a counterbalance weight. I'm going to get some, face inserts. I'm going to, get like an external battery pack, all that stuff they're going to get. And then in a couple of weeks, when the device is broken in, the balance is going to shift again. Because what happens is the oils in your face will actually soften the insert, and the tension on the springs will change, from use. So that'll actually affect the balance. And then, if you already adjusted it, then you're going to have to go through all of that again. All right. And you're going to be left thinking the Quest is uncomfortable. And I know people who have actually returned it because of this. But the fact is, it actually isn't. When you once the oils break in the headset, and the tension changes there, it'll actually affect the balance of the device, and you're going to find it's a lot more comfortable. You'll barely notice that it's on, and these will become your eyes in the same way that these become your hands. And if you got those earbuds, they become your ears, and it more fully immerses you into the experience. So I would recommend, if you're going to get any accessories to make it more comfortable, that you would wait 2 or 3 weeks for the device to be fully broken in before you do that. All right, because then you'll know what to address. Like, if you find that the insert isn't comfortable, then you could try like one of these products up here, like from VR Cover, which is an insert that basically makes it feel like you got your face in a pillow. It's very nice. And they actually send you 2 of them where you can wash one while the other one's in use. So it's more hygienic, and it's a really great way to go. Can't recommend it enough. Also, you have these prescription inserts if you wear eyeglasses, and that'll help. Because listen, if you scratch your eyeglasses and you scratch your VR lenses, that can get pretty expensive really quickly. All right, so if you wear glasses, this is a good thing to use. Also, speaking of protecting your device, the box the Quest comes in is really great. But you can't go wrong with one of these travel cases here. And these will actually help protect your device if you're going to be moving around an awful lot. All right, and if you want to try any of these accessories, you can find them by going to altvr.com. And up in the upper left there, you're going to see a link that says channels. Now, when you click it, you're going to see all these wonderful Altspace event channels listed out. And down towards the bottom, I'm told that doesn't mean anything, but you're going to see Ravenhall events like it says up in the sound booth. Now, when you click on that, you get taken to our event page. And that's where we organize all of our events. You'll see all of the other events that we do. But on the left-hand side, you'll see a list of these products. And if you want to try any of them out, the link's right there. You'll also see a join Discord button if you want to say hello, or if you have any questions, we're happy to help with that stuff. Or if you want to help us organize events like this, that's where we congregate and get together and organize all this stuff. But you also see the most important button on the internet there, and that's the subscribe button. When you press that, it lets Altspace know that you enjoy our content, right? And it's a great way, and listen, we don't get paid to do this. So every time we see that number go up, it makes us feel good. It's a great way to say thank you. Even better is if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you are watching out there on YouTube, you can find links to these products in the description below. All right, now we are going to be taking your questions and your comments now. And the way we're going to do this is you're going to see that there's going to be a raise hand button appear as if by magic on your lower right. It's true. That's what magic looks like in VR. Now, if you press that, it'll turn blue, and then you'll get on our list, and they'll know you have a question. And while we wait for that to fill up there, you're going to see that we have you can find us on Twitter at __ Uncanny Valley. All right. Does anybody have any questions at all? Just press that raise hand button there. No questions, no comments at all? Okay, quiet group. We get a lot of quiet groups in here lately. I don't know what it's about. All right, cool. All right, well, listen, if you've learned anything here today, please share it with those you come in contact with. What we're going to do now is we're going to, for example, if you're, walking around Altspace and you see somebody down low on the ground and they're like, help, I'm stuck on the ground. And you just tell them to press down that left thumbstick. They'll pop up and they'll feel better, and you'll feel better because you help somebody, right? And that's kind of how we keep this thing going. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to press this button here, and if you look, direct your attention out the window, through this glass window here, you're going to see a Ravenhall Talon hovercraft fly down the street, up over those trees and land in that backyard area, right? And what this is going to do is it's going to take us out to the Ravenhall Flight Academy. We're going to teach you guys how to fly if you haven't, and if you have any questions, we'll take it in there. So let's call it in now. I'm going to press this button here.
Ravenhall Talon aircraft en route to your position.
There it goes, down the street. Now, you can actually fly one of these. If you all come out in the back and join me, you can actually fly one of these ships by joining us at the Ravenhall Flight Academy. We have them there, and you can fly them around if you like. We'll also teach you how to fly with just your avatar, or, and answer any questions you may have about Altspace for your device or anything like that. Here it comes. Now, it's going to get in kind of low, but don't worry. It hasn't hit anybody yet that we're willing to admit to. Here we go. Coming in there. There we are.
Talon aircraft is now boarding outside for transport to the Ravenhall Flight Academy. Please exit the building and step into the blue light. Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming, everybody. You've been a great